They told her, "We don't serve you." Not, "We're full tonight." Not, "I'm so sorry, there must be a mistake." No. They looked right at a black woman in a tailored navy suit, standing in front of their glossy marble host stand with a confirmed reservation, and said the sentence like it was policy. "We don't serve you. People like you cause trouble here." The lobby went quiet. Fawkes paused mid-air at the bar. A couple at a corner table turned to stare. Her team behind her shifted, a mix of anger and disbelief rising like heat. And Maya Ellison, founder, CEO, the woman whose signature had quietly decided the fate of this entire building just hours ago, tilted her head, took a slow breath, and asked one simple question. "Are you sure that's the choice you want to make tonight?" What nobody in that restaurant knew in that moment was that they weren't just turning away a customer. They were turning away the new owner. And in less than an hour, every single person working there would be out of a job. Picture this. You walk into one of those upscale, dimly lit restaurants, the kind with the $50 entrees and the unspoken dress code of money and connections only. It's called the Ainsley Room. Dark hardwood floors, glass wine wall, soft jazz humming in the background. The kind of place people pick for anniversaries, celebrations, closing big deals. Now imagine you've had the longest, hardest, most victorious week of your life. You just closed a deal no one thought you could pull off. You sacrificed sleep, weekends, relationships, pieces of yourself. And to celebrate, you decide to take your team out to dinner. Not just to eat, but to say, "We did this together." That was Maya's plan. She arrived a few minutes early, heels clicking against the stone, team trailing behind her, her COO and best friend Jordan Price, her young operations lead Zoe, her finance director Henry, and a handful of analysts who'd lived in spreadsheets with her for months. They were laughing about some internal meme, that exhausted kind of laughter you only hear from people who've survived a war room together. Maya checked her watch as they approached the hostess stand. 7:58 p.m. Reservation at 8 o'clock. Name, Ellison Holdings. The hostess, a young blonde woman with a tight ponytail and tighter smile, looked up from the tablet. Her name tag read, Lily. "Good evening, welcome to the Ainsley Room. Do you have a reservation?" Maya smiled. "Yes. For 8. Under Ellison." Lily glanced at the screen. Her smile faltered almost imperceptibly. Just a flicker. Then came back. I'm not seeing that. Are you sure it's for tonight?" Jordan stepped forward, already fishing out his phone. "We got a confirmation email. I can pull it up." Behind the hostess, you could see the dining room, at least 6 open tables in view, white tablecloths gleaming under warm light. Not empty, but definitely not packed. Lily glanced pointedly over Maya's shoulder at the group. A table of mostly black and brown professionals, still in work clothes, carrying laptop bags and tired eyes. Maya saw it. She always saw it. The quick scan. The silent judgment. The math being done behind someone's eyes. Do they belong here? Lily's smile grew a little brittle. We have a very strict booking policy. And a dress code, she added, eyes dropping to Zoe's sneakers and back up. Tonight is quite full. Zoe shifted uncomfortably. I have heels in the car. We just came straight from the office, I can. Maya put a hand gently on her arm. It's fine. To the hostess, she said calmly. Can you check under Ellison Holdings? The booking might be under the company name instead of mine. Lily hesitated, then tapped again. You know when someone is barely pretending to search? The finger movements that don't match real effort? That. No, nothing under that either. Unfortunately, we're fully booked tonight. The bar behind Lily was full of noise, glasses clinking, low laughter, the murmur of conversations. A couple walked in behind Maya, an older white man in a grey blazer and a woman in a cocktail dress. Riley, party of 2, he said casually. Lily's face lit up. Of course, Mr. Riley. Right this way. She grabbed 2 menus and brushed past Maya and her team like they were furniture. Zoe blinked. Henry's jaw clenched. Jordan let out a quiet, disbelieving laugh. Fully booked, hey, he muttered. Maya didn't move. She watched as the hostess walked the couple straight to a window table, one of the best in the house. No checking the system. No hesitation. She'd been in too many rooms to mistake what she was seeing. When Lily returned, she avoided Maya's eyes. Like I said, we're at capacity. We also reserve the right to refuse service at our discretion. It's in our policy. There it was. That sentence. We reserve the right to refuse service. If you've ever been on the wrong end of that line, you know how it feels. It's never about a policy. It's about a message. You're not welcome here. Jordan stepped forward, voice rising. So which is it? You're full, or you're refusing service. Lily's eyes darted to a man standing near the bar, tall, mid-40s, slicked back hair, navy vest over a white shirt, phone in hand. His name tag read Chad, General Manager. Of course his name was Chad. Lily waved him over. Chad? There's an issue with this party's reservation. Chad walked up with that weary, impatient look of someone who thinks most problems are beneath him. Evening, folks. What seems to be the problem? Maya kept her voice level. We have an 8 p.m. reservation. It was confirmed. Your hostess says she can't find it and that you're fully booked, but I just watched you seat a walk-in. Chad gave a tight smile. As Lily mentioned, we're at capacity for the night. We also have private events. Occasionally, we have to make judgment calls on the floor. It's nothing personal. Nothing personal. That phrase burned. What kind of judgment calls? Jordan shot back. You made one very quickly when you saw us. Chad's eyes hardened, though his tone stayed smooth. Sir, I'm not going to argue with you in my lobby. This is a private establishment. We cater to a certain atmosphere, and we've had issues in the past with large groups causing disturbances. So we're more selective these days. Zoe whispered, did he just say that, under her breath? You could feel the humiliation slip into the air like smoke. Not loud. But everywhere. Maya folded her arms. So let me get this straight, she said quietly. You had no problem seating that couple that walked in after us. No reservation, no questions. But my team, or reservation, confirmation email, dressed in business attire, somehow doesn't fit your atmosphere. Is that right? Chad lifted his chin. We've had issues before. Rowdy behavior. Unpaid tabs. People using reservations as excuses to loiter. We're just more cautious now, that's all. Like I said, it's nothing personal. We just don't serve. He cut himself off too late. That was when he said it. The line that would cost him everything. We just don't serve people who create problems for our staff. And in our experience, you people usually do. The world stopped. Henry swore under his breath. Zoe's eyes filled with tears. Someone at the bar actually said out loud, "Whoa." Maya stared at him. Her voice, when it came, was almost soft. You people. Chad shifted. I'm going to have to ask you to leave, he added quickly, like he could cover it. If you refuse, I'll have to involve security or call the police. I'd rather not escalate this. And there it was. The threat. The unspoken, we can make this far worse for you if you don't quietly disappear. Maya felt it all at once. Every time she'd been followed in a store. Every time she'd had to over-enunciate her degrees to be taken seriously. Every time a waiter had brought the check to the man next to her instead of to her. It hit like a wave. But she didn't raise her voice. She didn't step closer. She just reached into her bag and pulled out her phone. Jordan saw the look on her face and took a step back. He'd seen this version of her in conference rooms, staring down billion-dollar clients who thought they owned the world. "Maya," he said quietly. "You okay?" She nodded once. "Chad," she said. "I'm going to ask you one more time, and I need you to think very carefully before you answer." He rolled his eyes. "I really don't have time for this." "Are you sure," she cut in, "that you want to refuse service to me and my team tonight?" Chad crossed his arms. "Absolutely. We don't serve you here. That's final." Silence. Maya looked at him for a long moment, then did something that confused everyone. She smiled. It wasn't warm. It wasn't friendly. It was the smile of someone who just watched someone else push a big red button they didn't know existed. "Okay," she said simply. "Then I'll stop wasting my time." She turned slightly, scrolling through her phone, thumb moving with purpose. "Olivia," she said when the call picked up. "Hey. It's Maya." "Yes, I know it's after hours. I need you to implement an immediate shutdown order on a property." Chad frowned. Lily looked like she wanted to melt through the floor. "Yes, the Ainsley Room," Maya continued. "Downtown location. Effective immediately. Suspend operations, access to their reservation system, and freeze their corporate accounts. I'll send you written documentation in 10 minutes. This is due to a serious discrimination incident I am currently experiencing, actually, right now." You could feel the confusion in the air. The bartenders stopped mid-pour. A server holding a tray of wine glasses paused. Chad laughed, a little too loudly. "Whatever game you're playing, it's not funny. You can't just." Maya tapped her screen, pulled up an email, and turned it toward him. It was a signed document. Letterhead from Ellison Capital Partners. Subject line, Acquisition Finalization, Ainsley Property Group. Near the bottom, highlighted, were the words. Effective as of 3 p.m. today, Ellison Capital Partners assumes controlling interest in Ainsley Property Group, including but not limited to the property at 48 Harper Avenue, currently occupied by the Ainsley Room. Under that, signatures. And at the very bottom, Maya T. Ellison, Chief Executive Officer. Chad's smirk cracked. What is this?" Maya's voice stayed calm. "This is the acquisition that closed this afternoon. The one that gave my firm full control over the holding company that owns your lease. Which means I'm not just a customer you turned away tonight." She let the word sink in. "I'm your landlord. And your new boss's boss." Olivia's voice crackled faintly through the speaker. "I've initiated the shutdown internally," she said. "Corporate will be calling the location in about 45 seconds. Maya put her phone on speaker. "Thank you, Olivia. I'm currently standing in the lobby, where the general manager has just refused to serve me and my team because we don't fit the atmosphere and you people cause trouble. Please make a note of his exact words in the incident report." Chad's face went white. "Now hold on," he stammered. That's not what happened. You're twisting." The phone behind the bar started ringing. Lily jumped. Chad, it's the corporate line." Chad swallowed, eyes darting between Maya and the phone. "Don't pick that up," he snapped. Maya raised an eyebrow. "If you don't, I will." Lily hesitated only a second before answering it. This is the Ainsley Room, downtown," she said shakily. A voice on the other end was loud enough for those nearby to hear, clipped, professional, urgent. "This is corporate. Put your general manager on the phone. Now." Lily extended the receiver with trembling fingers. Chad took it slowly. Hey, this is Chad," he said, trying for calm. "There's been a misunderstanding here, some crazy woman is." "Mr. Dawson," the voice cut in, "you will immediately cease operations. Effective this moment, you are to close the restaurant, inform all patrons that there has been an internal emergency, and send your staff home." You are not authorized to speak to anyone on behalf of this establishment. You are also suspended, pending investigation. The room reacted like it had been slapped. You can't do that. Chad exploded, forgetting himself. You can't just shut us down in the middle of service. Your new controlling partner can, the voice replied. And she's standing right there listening. Do as instructed. Now. Chad turned slowly to look at Maya. For the first time all night, he really saw her. Not as an inconvenience. Not as you people. As someone who held his entire livelihood in her hand. She didn't gloat. She didn't smile. She just met his eyes and said, "We gave you a reservation and a chance to do the right thing. You refused both. If you're still watching right now, let me ask you something. Have you ever been written off at first glance? Judged before you said a word? And have you ever wished you had the power, just once, to flip the script?" That's where this story really begins. Because to understand why Maya did what she did next, you have to know where she came from. 2 months before that night, Maya sat at her kitchen counter at 2:17 a.m., staring at a spreadsheet and an email that would change everything. Her life didn't start with marble floors and acquisition papers. It started in a 2-bedroom apartment over a laundromat, with a mother who worked overnight shifts as a nurse and a grandmother who believed in 2 things, God and education. Her grandmother, Aunt Livin to everyone on the block, had a favorite line. "Baby, this world is gonna make you earn every ounce of respect you get. But don't let that make you small. Make it make you sharp." As a kid, Maya watched her mother get passed over for promotions by younger, less experienced nurses who called her sweetie and hun. She listened from the hallway when a bank manager told her mom, "I just don't think women in your situation should be taking on that kind of risk." That situation being single, black, working class. Maya remembered the heat in her mother's cheeks. The way she'd clenched her jaw and quietly asked for the form anyway. Those moments stay with you. They become the quiet engine behind your ambition. By the time she was 17, Maya had a scholarship, 3 part-time jobs, and a plan. She wasn't just going to get a degree. She was going to learn how money moved. Who made decisions? Why some neighborhoods got fresh grocery stores and others got payday lenders. She studied finance and real estate. Then got a master's degree. Then a job at a firm where she was the only black woman in her division. At that firm, they called her intense behind her back. She heard it once through the thin conference room walls, the way people talk when they think the door is closed. She's smart, sure, but I don't know. There's something about her. You know how they can be when they get too ambitious. She didn't cry. She didn't storm in. She remembered Aunt Livin. The higher you climb, the more their words will itch. Don't scratch every time. Stay focused. So she stayed focused. She learned deals inside and out. She stayed later, read more, asked better questions. And when she realized there would always be a ceiling over her head at someone else's firm, she quietly started her own. Ellison Capital Partners was born in a tiny co-working space with bad coffee and flickering lights. At first, it was just her and Jordan, her college friend who'd gone into operations management and hated corporate life. Jordan was the opposite of Maya in all the right ways. Where she was measured, he was animated. Where she saw risk, he saw possibility. Where she carried the weight of every slight, he cracked a joke and kept moving. "We could build something real," he'd said one night over takeout. Not just another firm. A different kind of firm. Getting money and ownership into the hands of the people who never get asked to the table. They started small. An underperforming strip mall in a neighborhood everyone else had written off. A rundown warehouse that could be converted into affordable artist lofts. Deals no one else wanted. They listened to shop owners whose leases had been a trap for years. They worked with community groups, not just against them. It didn't always work. They made mistakes. But slowly, their reputation grew. And with it, their power. 10 years later, Ellison Capital controlled dozens of properties across the city. Still, in certain rooms, Maya was asked if she was with catering more times than she could count. You start to see the pattern. Doors open. But not always to you. So when an opportunity came up to buy Ainsley Property Group, the company that owned several high-end restaurant buildings, including the Ainsley Room, Maya's interest wasn't just financial. It was personal. Ainsley had a reputation. An exclusive clientele. Dress codes that somehow always seemed more flexible for certain people than others. A quiet history of complaints that never made it to the news. To the board at Ainsley, Maya was just another bidder until she wasn't. Until she out-strategized, out-researched, and outmaneuvered every other firm at the table. Until they realized the woman they'd underestimated was their best shot at salvaging value. And so, on a Thursday afternoon at 3 p.m., the acquisition closed. Maya became the controlling partner of the company that owned the Ainsley Rooms building. She didn't celebrate. She went back to her office, dropped into a chair, and stared at the city skyline. Jordan leaned against the doorway. "Hey, boss," he said. "You just bought the rich people's playground and you look like someone cancelled Christmas." She rubbed her eyes and laughed weakly. "It's just... I know what this place is," she said. "You ever walk by somewhere and know, even without a sign, that you're not meant to go in?" Jordan nodded. "The Ainsley Room," he said. "Oh yeah. Walked by their windows plenty of times in college. Never saw anyone in there who looked like us unless they were bussing tables." Maya tapped her fingers on the desk. "I don't want to just own it," she said. "I want to change it. But I don't even know if that's possible without burning it to the ground." Jordan grinned. "Well, if anyone can figure out how to rebuild something better, it's you." He paused. "In the meantime, though, we are allowed to eat there now, right? I mean, technically we're paying their rent." Maya snorted. "Technically, yes." "Then how about we start with a little victory dinner," he said. "Team only. No investors, no clients. Just us." She hesitated. There was still that girl inside her who'd grown up walking past places like that, feeling like the glass between her and those white tablecloths was more than just a window. Aunt Levin's voice floated through her memory. "Don't you ever let anyone tell you a room isn't for you. You walk in like you already belong, and let them figure out how to adjust." Maya picked up the phone. "Fine," she said. "Let's see if they can handle feeding their new landlord." At 12 p.m., Maya called the Ainsley Room. Lily answered. "Good afternoon, thank you for calling the Ainsley Room, this is Lily speaking. How may I assist you?" "Hi, Lily. I'd like to make a reservation for tonight at 8. A party of 8. "Of course. May I have your name?" Maya hesitated for a microsecond. Should she just save Maya and see what happened? Or should she use the company name? She decided to do both. "Yes. Maya Ellison. That's Ellison. You can also put it under Ellison Capital Partners or Ellison Holdings. We're affiliated with Ainsley now." There was a pause. "One moment," Lily said, tone shifting. You could hear her typing. I do see a note about the acquisition here." "That's exciting." "Very," Maya replied dryly. "All right, Ms. Ellison," Lily said. "You're all set for 8 o'clock. Party of 8. I'll mark it as VIP so the staff is aware." "Thank you." Maya hung up, staring at her phone. VIP. The words meant nothing if the mindset didn't change. She forwarded the confirmation email to Jordan. "We're on," she typed. "And apparently, we're VIP now." He replied with a screenshot of his suit laid out on his bed. "Gonna show up so fancy they'll think I own the place." Which, I guess technically, you do. Back at home, Maya took a moment alone before getting ready. She stood in front of the mirror, adjusting the lapel of her navy blazer. For a second, she saw not the CEO everyone else saw, but the 12-year-old girl whose field trip had skipped the fancy hotel because the teacher said it was too far, even though it was 3 blocks away. You know those memories that still sting years later? She remembered pressing her face to the window of the bus as they drove past the hotel. Watching people in suits walk in and out, wondering what it must feel like to be on the inside of a place that nice. She swallowed. We're not 12 anymore, she muttered to herself. We're signing the checks now. She grabbed her keys. It was just supposed to be dinner. A few hours of good food, laughter, and the bittersweet relief of a battle won. She had no idea that in less than 4 hours, she'd be standing in that lobby, shutting the whole place down. By 7:45 p.m., the team had gathered outside her office building. Zoe bounced on her toes, nervous. Are you sure this place is okay with sneakers? She asked Maya for the 3rd time. I mean, they're clean. They're like, minimalist. But still. You look fine, Maya said. If they can't handle a young black woman in clean white sneakers after she just helped close a multi-million-dollar deal, that's a them problem, not a you problem. Zoe smiled shyly. Okay. But if someone gives me a look, I'm saying you bullied me into this. Jordan clapped Zoe on the shoulder. You look like the future of the company, he said. That's the dress code as far as I'm concerned. They walked the few blocks to the Ainsley room, the city buzzing around them. Streetlights blinking on. Cars honking. The echo of someone playing saxophone on a corner. When they reached the restaurant, Maya paused. For a moment, she just looked at it. The tall glass windows. The gold lettering on the door. The little world inside where everything looked soft and calm and curated. She exhaled slowly. Ready? Jordan asked. Let's do this, she said. You already know what happened next. How Lily's polite smile turned brittle. How Chad's we reserve the right to refuse service turned into we don't serve you people. How the humiliation burned hot and sharp in Maya's chest. But what you didn't see were the small glances. The server near the corner who winced, eyes darting between Chad and Maya. The dishwasher, Rosa, peeking out from the kitchen door, towel in hand, face tightening as she sensed trouble. Not everyone in that room agreed with what was happening. But in places like that, power doesn't always belong to the people with the most kindness. It belongs to the people with the keys. At least, it used to. As Chad barked at staff to keep things moving, Maya quietly collected herself. Jordan was fuming. We should blast them online right now, he whispered fiercely. You know how fast this would go viral? We don't serve you. They'd be begging you for forgiveness by sunrise. Zoe wiped at the corner of her eye. I've never been openly turned away like that, she said softly. I mean, I felt unwelcome. But this? I just wanted to celebrate. Did we do something wrong? Maya turned to face her team fully. You could see the weight in her shoulders, but also something else. Resolve. Look at me, she said to Zoe. We did nothing wrong. You did nothing wrong. This isn't about our clothes, or our reservation, or our behavior. This is about prejudice dressed up as a policy. Do you understand me? Zoe nodded slowly. Yes, but... No buts, Maya said firmly. You worked your ass off for this deal. You earned the right to eat dinner in a nice place without someone deciding you're a problem just by looking at you. Henry, who'd been quiet until then, spoke up. What are you thinking, boss? He asked. Because I know that look. That's the I'm about to wreck someone's balance sheet look. Maya exhaled. I'm thinking about every time I've swallowed this kind of thing to keep the peace, she said. Every time I've said, it's okay, let's just go somewhere else, because I didn't want to be the angry black woman making a scene. She glanced toward Chad, who was pretending to be engrossed in some paperwork, but clearly listening. I'm thinking about what message it sends to you, she continued, if I let this slide now that I actually have the power to do something about it. She looked each of them in the eye. We're not walking away quietly tonight, she said. Not this time. That was when she called Olivia and everything flipped. You already saw the shutdown order. The corporate call. The way the room went from confident buzz to stunned silence. But the real chaos started after Chad hung up. Chad slammed the phone down, hands shaking. This is ridiculous, he hissed. Some hostile takeover stunt. Behind him, a bartender quietly stepped back from the counter, as if distance would protect him from whatever storm was about to hit. Maya spoke clearly enough for everyone to hear. You've just been instructed by your corporate leadership to close the restaurant and send everyone home, she said. If you refuse, that'll be added to the list. Chad looked around. It was like he was finally seeing his staff. Lily, biting her lip, regret written all over her face. Rosa, standing still by the kitchen door, clutching her towel like a lifeline. The server, Marcus, who needed this job to pay for night classes. They were all looking at him, waiting to see what he would do. He could have chosen humility. He didn't. Ladies and gentlemen, he called out, fake calm voice projecting through the dining room. I'm very sorry, but due to an unexpected, systems issue, we're going to have to close early tonight. Groans and confusion rose from the tables. What? We just ordered. You've got to be kidding me. We have theater tickets, can't you just hurry the food? Chad raised his hands. Please, I apologize for the inconvenience. Your meals will be comped tonight, of course. He turned back to Maya, voice low and venomous. Congratulations, he spat. You've ruined the night for everyone, including your own people. You happy now? Maya didn't flinch. I didn't embarrass myself in front of your staff and customers, she said. You did that. I didn't say you people. You did. And let's be clear, if shutting this place down is what it takes to make sure no one else gets treated the way you just treated us, then yes. I'm at peace with that. Jordan leaned closer to Maya. We could still walk out, he murmured. You've made your point. Maya shook her head. This isn't about a point, she said. It's about a pattern. A woman in a green dress approached the host stand, arms crossed. Excuse me, she said, addressing Chad. Is it true you're closing because you refused service to them? She nodded toward Maya's group. The attention in the room shifted. People started whispering. I heard him say you people. Is she, like, someone important? Did he really refuse a reservation? Chad's face reddened. We're not discussing internal matters with guests, he snapped. Please, respect our privacy. Maya stepped in gently. She said to the woman, all you need to know is that we had a confirmed reservation, we were refused service for reasons that had nothing to do with availability, and the company that owns this building is now investigating it. The woman studied her, then looked at Chad. She picked up her clutch. Then you don't need to comp my meal, she said. You can give that money to your staff when you're all out of a job. Let's go, Daniel. Her partner stood, and together they walked out. One table leaving isn't much. But it only takes one to start a movement. Within minutes, more customers quietly got up. Some left cash on the tables. Some didn't. A few gave Chad looks of pure disgust as they passed. It wasn't a protest. There were no chants. No signs. Just a steady trickle of people choosing not to be part of that atmosphere. If you've ever watched someone's power slip away in real time, you know it doesn't happen all at once. It bleeds out in moments like that. As the dining room emptied, Chad turned back to his staff. All right, he barked. Everyone clock out. I'll sort this mess out with corporate and we'll reopen tomorrow like nothing happened. Maya spoke up. No, she said. You won't. He laughed bitterly. You really think you can just end all our jobs with one phone call? She looked him straight in the eye. "I don't think," she said. "I know. And that's exactly what I just did." Later that night, long after the last customer had left and the closed sign hung crookedly in the window, the staff gathered in a semicircle in the dining room. The chairs were up on tables. The lights were half dimmed. Olivia had driven over in person. She stood next to Maya, holding a tablet with the incident report open. Chad sat stiffly in a chair, arms crossed. Lily, Marcus, Rosa, and half a dozen others stood nearby, anxiety thick in the air. "I want to start by saying this," Maya said, looking around the circle. "I know what it means to lose a job. I know it affects more than just you. It affects families. Rent. School. Food. I don't take that lightly." She paused. "But I also know what it feels like to be told you don't belong in a place you're paying to be in. And I won't tolerate that under my leadership." Chad scoffed. "So what now?" he demanded. "You're going to shut us down forever? Because I made one mistake? Do you have any idea how hard I've worked to get into this position?" Maya's gaze was steady. "Do you have any idea," she replied, "how many times you've probably made someone feel small in this lobby without even realizing it? How many reservations like ours were lost? How many you people comments never got reported?" He shifted in his chair, looking away. Maya continued. "Here's what's happening. Effective immediately, this location is closed. Your entire management team is terminated pending final HR review. Non-management staff will receive severance and assistance in being placed at other properties that pass an internal audit. Anyone directly involved in discriminatory behavior will not be recommended. The rest of you, we will try to take care of." The room murmured. Lily spoke up, voice trembling. "Ms. Ellison? I'm so sorry," she said. "I recognized your name on the reservation. I should have said something when Chad told me how to handle it. I didn't. I just did what he said. Does that make me just as bad?" Maya looked at her. This was one of those moments where you decide what kind of leader you're going to be. Vengeful. Or fair. Rigid. Or willing to see nuance. "It makes you human," Maya said softly. "It makes you someone who had a choice and didn't take the right one. But you're here now, admitting it. That matters." She turned to Rosa, who'd been quiet the whole time. "What about you?" Maya asked gently. "Did you see what happened?" Rosa nodded slowly. "I heard," she said. "I always hear. I'm in the back but the walls are thin. Has this kind of thing happened before?" Olivia asked. Rosa hesitated, then nodded again. "Sometimes," she said. Different words, same feeling. I don't say anything because," she lifted her hands helplessly. "Because I need this job. My son, he's in school. I send money home to my mother. If I make trouble..." Maya swallowed. This was the part no one puts on motivational posters. The part where you realize that the people at the bottom of these systems are often the most trapped by them. "You shouldn't have to choose between your dignity and your paycheck," Maya said quietly. "None of you should." She glanced at Olivia. "Can we set up a fund?" she asked. "Something beyond severance. For staff who are not in leadership and who cooperate fully with the investigation. I don't want them carrying the weight of his choices alone." Olivia nodded. "We can," she said. "We'll have to restructure some budgets, but we can." Chad scoffed again. "So that's it," he sneered. "You get to be the hero. The savior of the poor staff. The avenging angel for people like you who got their feelings hurt." Jordan took a step forward, anger flaring in his eyes, but Maya held up a hand. "You still don't get it," she said to Chad. "This isn't about hurt feelings. This is about access. Opportunity. Safety. you threatened to call the police because we insisted on being treated fairly. Do you have any idea how dangerous that is for people who look like me? There it was. The truth under the truth. Too many stories don't end with a quiet shutdown and a severance package. They end on sidewalks, in handcuffs, in headlines. Maya's voice shook slightly. I built my company so I wouldn't have to beg for a seat at anyone's table, she said. So I could be the one signing the leases, writing the checks, making the policies. If I let what happened tonight go, what's the point of all of it? The room was silent. Even Chad looked, if not remorseful, then at least less sure of himself. So yes, Maya continued. Tonight, I ended all your jobs at this location. But I'm also opening something else, if you're willing to be part of it. Lily frowned. Opening what? She asked. Maya's eyes were clear. A new kind of Ainsley, she said. One where VIP doesn't mean very important profile. One where atmosphere isn't code for only certain kinds of people. One where we don't need someone to get humiliated for us to finally see what's been wrong all along. She took a breath. We'll renovate. We'll retrain. We'll rehire. Some of you will come back. Some of you won't. But this place, as it was tonight? It's done. If you're still with me, let me ask you. What would you have done in Maya's position? Walked away quietly, like so many times before? Or used your power to flip the entire table, knowing innocent people might get caught in the fallout? Tell me in the comments what you would have done. I'm genuinely curious. Because here's the thing. It's easy to cheer for justice when it's simple. It's harder when it's messy, complicated, and expensive. And this story? It doesn't wrap up neatly in one night. News of what happened didn't stay in that dining room. It never does. The woman in the green dress? She posted about it. A simple paragraph on social media. Just watched a restaurant try to refuse service to a black woman with a confirmed reservation, only to find out she literally owns the building. The manager said you people and now the place is shut down. I have never seen karma move that fast in my life. By morning, it had thousands of shares. Then tens of thousands. # we don't serve you. # owned the building. # a listen effect. People argued in the comments. This is exactly what needs to happen when businesses discriminate. What about the employees who did nothing wrong? Power used right for once. This feels like overkill. Maya saw every angle. She sat in her office, phone buzzing with messages. Some congratulating her. Some calling her angry names she'd heard before. Some accusing her of loving power too much. She didn't respond. Instead, she opened an email from Aunt Livin. Just 3 lines. Saw the news. Proud of you for standing up. Just remember, justice and mercy are a pair. Don't let one drown out the other. That email sat with her. That afternoon, she called a meeting with Jordan and Olivia. We're going to reopen the Ainsley room, she said. But under a new name. New policies. New leadership. And I want a community advisory council involved in the redesign. Olivia blinked. Most people would just rebrand and move on, she said. Why make it harder? Because I don't want this to just be a revenge story on the internet, Maya replied. I want it to be a turning point. Jordan raised an eyebrow. What does that look like, practically? He asked. Maya thought for a moment. It looks like transparent hiring, she said. Bias training that isn't just a checkbox. A code of conduct that's enforced, not framed and ignored. And it looks like partnerships with the communities we've historically shut out of spaces like that. She glanced at the whiteboard on the wall, where someone had jokingly written, "Own the table, don't just sit at it." If we're going to own the table, she said softly, we better make sure we're not just recreating the same exclusive guest list with different faces. 3 weeks later, the sign on the door of the former Ainsley room had been removed. Windows were papered over. A construction permit was taped to the glass. Inside, you could hear the muffled sound of drills and hammers. The internet had moved on to the next outrage, as it always does. But the people whose lives had changed because of that night, they were still adjusting. Lily had been offered a position at another property after completing a new training program. Marcus was now working at a different restaurant with a manager he actually respected. Rosa's severance and the supplemental fund allowed her to take a week off for the first time in years. One rainy afternoon, as Maya left a meeting at the building, she saw someone waiting near the entrance. Chad. He looked different. No crisp vest. No manager posture. Just a plain jacket, tired eyes, and a manila envelope clutched in his hand. Maya considered walking past him. She had every right. But she stopped. "Can I help you?" she asked. He cleared his throat. I wasn't sure you'd even talk to me," he said. "I haven't decided yet," she replied. "Say what you came to say." He took a deep breath. "I lost the house," he blurted. "We were already behind on payments, and when I lost the job." He stopped himself, shaking his head. "Doesn't matter. That's not your fault. I wanted to tell you I've been doing some thinking. And reading. And listening." He held up the envelope. "These are letters," he said. "From some of the staff. They told me things I didn't know. About how I sounded. How I made decisions. I thought I was just enforcing standards. I didn't see." He swallowed. "I didn't see how I'd become the kind of person I swore I'd never be. The kind of manager who made people feel small." Maya watched him carefully. "Is this the part where you ask for your job back?" she asked. He shook his head. "No," he said quickly. "I know that's not happening. I needed to own it. To say I'm sorry. Not because the internet dragged me. Not because I lost my job. But because I hurt people. Including you. And I can't say I didn't know better, because deep down, I did." A gust of wind sent raindrops sideways between them. Maya looked at the envelope, then at Chad. "What do you want from me?" she asked. "Forgiveness." He let out a humorless laugh. "I don't think I deserve that," he said. "Not yet. Maybe not ever. I just didn't want the last thing you remembered me saying to be you people." They stood there for a moment. Two people from very different worlds, both shaped by the same system in different ways. One crushed by losing a position he thought defined him. One who refused to let anyone's prejudice define her. Maya finally took the envelope. "I'll read them," she said. "And your apology. I hear it. That's all I can say right now." He nodded. "Thank you," he said quietly. "For ending that job. For forcing me to see who I'd become. I hate it. But I needed it." He turned to leave, then paused. "For what it's worth," he added over his shoulder, "I've been bussing tables at my cousin's diner. Different crowd. Different pace. I actually like it. It's humbling." He smiled weakly. "Turns out, when you don't think you're better than everyone, people open up to you. I'm learning more there than I ever did in this lobby." Then he was gone. Maya watched him disappear into the rain. Justice, and a sliver of redemption. Not a full circle, we're all friends now moment. Just human. 6 months later, the space reopened. Not as the Ainsley Room. That name, with all its quiet baggage, was retired. The new sign simply read, Harper and Ellison. Named for the street it sat on, and the woman who refused to let it stay the same. Inside, the marble was still there. The soft lighting. The good food. But the atmosphere? Different. The staff was diverse in every sense of the word, age, race, background. The new general manager, Imani Brooks, was a black woman in her 40s with 2 decades of experience and a zero-tolerance policy for nonsense. On the first day of staff training, she'd stood at the front of the dining room and said, "We are not in the business of making certain people feel like they're doing something wrong just by existing in this space. We are in the business of hospitality. That means everyone who walks through those doors with respect gets respect. Period. There were policies. There were procedures. There was still a dress code, but it was clear and reasonable, not weaponized. And there was a process for reporting bias. Real accountability." One Friday evening, Maya walked in with Aunt Levin on her arm. The hostess, a young man with locks and a warm smile, greeted them. "Welcome to Harper and Ellison," he said. "Do you have a reservation?" "Yes," Maya replied. "Ellison." He glanced at the screen. "Ah, there you are," he said. "Nice to finally meet you. We've heard a lot about you around here." He didn't say it like she was a legend. He said it like she was a person. Someone whose story mattered. "Right this way, Ms. Ellison." "Ms. Levin." As they sat, Aunt Levin took it all in. The people at the tables. The art on the walls, featuring local painters. The playlist, a mix of jazz, neo-soul, and classics that felt like a bridge between generations. "You did this," she said quietly. Maya shook her head. "We did this," she said. "You, Mom, every person who pushed me to keep going when they tried to shut doors in my face. And every person who ever got told, 'We don't serve you,' and didn't have the power to do anything about it." Their server approached, a familiar face. "Rosa." She grinned. "I told you I'd be back if they let me," she said. "They gave me a raise, too. And I'm training to be a shift lead." Maya's smile was genuine. "That's the best news I've heard all week," she said. Later, as the night wound down, Jordan raised a glass. "To the woman," he said, "who got told we don't serve you." He smirked. And responded by ending every job in the building and then rebuilding them on better terms. The table laughed. Maya shook her head, but she clinked her glass anyway. "To not shrinking," she said. "Even when it would be easier." So what's the takeaway here? Is this just a satisfying revenge story? The mean manager got fired. The racist policy got shut down. The powerful black CEO got the last word. If this were a movie, maybe it would end there. But real life is messier. Real life is employees wondering how they'll pay rent after a shutdown. It's people like Lily realizing they were complicit by staying silent. It's people like Chad confronting the ugly parts of themselves they'd been ignoring. And it's people like Maya who finally get the power they've fought for and have to decide how to use it. Here's what she learned, and what you can take with you. Your dignity is not up for negotiation. When someone tells you, directly or indirectly, that you don't belong, that's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their limits. Power is a tool, not a personality. Maya didn't humiliate Chad just because she could. She used her position to create change that would outlast a news cycle. Justice and mercy can coexist. Ending the old jobs at that restaurant was necessary. But so was making sure innocent staff weren't destroyed in the process, and so was leaving room for genuine apologies and growth. Silence is a choice. Lily could have spoken up sooner. Rosa felt she couldn't. Both reactions are understandable, but neither changes the harm done. If you're in a position to speak, and it's safe enough, use your voice. Ownership matters. Not just owning property or businesses, but owning your story. Your reactions. Your values. Maya took the pain of a single sentence, "We don't serve you," and turned it into a whole new way of doing business. If you've ever felt like you didn't belong in certain rooms, if you've ever been made to feel small by someone with a little power and a lot of prejudice, I hope this story reminds you of something. You are not asking for too much when you ask to be treated with basic respect. You are not overreacting when you refuse to swallow humiliation to keep the peace. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is exactly what Maya did. Stand your ground. Know your worth. Use whatever power you have, not just to protect yourself, but to change the room for the people who come after you. If you're still here, thank you for watching all the way to the end. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever walked into a place and felt unwelcome for no good reason? What would you have done if you were Maya that night? Do you think she went too far, or not far enough? If you believe people should be held accountable for how they treat others, no matter who's watching, hit that like button. And if you want more stories like this, about dignity, justice, and everyday people refusing to shrink, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Because somewhere out there right now, someone is being told, we don't serve you. And they have no idea yet that one day, they might own the building.